avoiding this one thing in property is probably the most important thing that you can do for yourself in building the right business for you. So the first property that we ever bought was a single-let property. It was so painful to get off the ground, but we did it. And after having tested the model, we got to just scaling it up. We started to replicate it, and it was great. And it was working really well. Not that it wasn't really freaking hard juggling that around a full-time job, but in that process of scaling up and getting to the next level and buying quite a lot of properties, working with investors, something happened that if I could go back, I would have done very, very differently. And that was, rather than seeing the great things in the model that we had created, you know, little single lets, doing refurbishment, buy, refurbish, refinance, I started to just see all the downsides, or some of the downsides. So I started to see what other people were doing, you know, oh God, they're doing a commercial conversion. Oh my God, the profit in that is just huge. You know, I'm probably making 25, 30 grand profit on these little 100 grand property deals, and they're making hundreds of thousands or millions of pounds. Why am I faffing around spending my time on this stuff? And that made me start to investigate commercial conversions. And then we started to think, oh, if not, you know, if commercial conversions might be something for us, bearing in mind we'd barely done any refurbs at this point. We started to think, oh no, maybe developments could be good as well. It just seems so much more worthy of our time. And so we started to go out and start chasing these opportunities or try and find these leads. Simultaneously, we started to hear more about rent to rent, and that sounded so freaking cash flow quick compared to what we were doing. You know, no buying a property, just bish bash bosh, find a landlord to get a rent to rent done. So we were chasing them as well. And then we found a property deal that didn't quite work for a conventional purchase, so we started investigating a lease option. Just get a lease option, someone said. And then suddenly you're off on the cul-de-sac doing that. And before you know it, this process has happened over and over and over again. And before you know it, you're doing what we're trying to do, maybe 7 different things: conversions, developments, rent to rent, HMOs, sourcing, all manner of different things. And then all of a sudden, well, first of all, you toil your little heart out. Maybe you're doing this at the moment, working so many hours because you've got so many different things that you're trying to move forward, and they all take time and energy, and none of them are as simple as you think. And all of a sudden, you suddenly get whacked right between the eyes by just, I would call just complete and utter burnout, because you're trying to do so many different things, and hey, you're only human. You can't just keep going like that if you're juggling property around work, or even if you're not doing that and you've got multiple businesses. And for me, that moment of hitting burnout was one of the most awful things that I've experienced in property, because all of a sudden the excitement and motivation and courage and commitment that you have to go out and do this just disappears, and you question why you're doing it. And if you didn't have the right support around you at that moment, you could very easily give up. And I tell you, I felt like giving up when this happened. This was probably 2.5 years into being in property. I was lucky that I had someone there who spotted this in me, because I wouldn't have known what else to do. We started working with an amazing guy called Elliot Kay, who helped us on our business strategy, and that changed everything. And this is the most important thing to share with you right now is, what is it that you're actually doing? Why are you building this damn thing in property? Why are you running around like a headless chicken? Why are you trying to do 50 million things? What are you hoping to achieve? And for me, I didn't want 50 million property businesses. I just wanted one with enough money to create the freedom and the time to go on holidays and go for a run, and when you're sick to not feel bad to not go to work, whatever. So what is it for you? And you need to make sure you've got clarity on what your opportunity is. What is the thing that you're trying to take advantage of, and not try and do every single thing, because they aren't all sexy and easier and quicker than what you're doing. Everything is just as hard and just as easy as each other. So it's all about you and what's right for you. So just take a moment to reflect in your schedule as you go through your life. Have you got clarity on this? If not, comment below, send me a message. I'd love to help, because if I can prevent just even a handful of people going through what we went through, ideally hundreds of people, that would that would be amazing. So what is it that you're up to and what you're trying to achieve, and go and make sure you're making it happen.